Hi, my name is Bridget Kelly. I'm the state representative for the 31st House District, and glad to be here with you tonight and with my friend Liam Shanahan, who is running for Norwood City Council at large. We want to say a big thank you to Norwood Community Television for the opportunity for us to be in your home tonight and for giving the candidates an opportunity to talk all about their vision for the future of the city of Norwood. So Liam is running this year for council at large. We're really thrilled for you to get to know a little bit more about him. So Liam, maybe you can start us off tonight by telling us a little bit about you and your family.
Well, sure. My name's Liam Shanahan, and I'm running for Norwood City Council at large. My wife and I moved here to Norwood 2.5 years ago, and we live on South Madison. We welcomed our first son, Declan, a few months ago, and are absolutely loving life. I am a fireman by trade, and I know the importance of service to your community, and I want to run to serve my own community.
That's fantastic, and we're glad you decided to make your home in Norwood. So you talked a little bit about what made you want to run for office, and obviously you're involved in serving the public every day. So can you talk to us a little bit more about why you want to be on council in Norwood?
I want to be on council because I feel there is a need for people to think outside of the box in the shared desire to have a safe, clean, and thriving Norwood. I want to be able to have parks for my child and children and my neighbors' children to play in safely and ride their bikes down nice, smooth streets to get there. I want to be able to say that Norwood is as safe as possible and that we have great public safety services. And I also want to be able to recruit and figure out a way to recruit small businesses and increase our economic development plan here in Norwood.
Well, I think that we could all agree that a safe, clean, and thriving Norwood is a good thing for all of us. And so when you say you want to make our city safer, can you talk a little bit more about what that means and sort of what qualifies you to move the city in a safer direction?
Sure. Well, just a few years ago, I earned my master's degree in safety, security, and emergency management from Eastern Kentucky University. In doing so, I was able to study multiple different facets of public safety. And by doing that, I was able to understand how a community can become so much safer and better and provide better services for its community by supporting its public safety forces, ensuring we have updated equipment, and our public safety providers are given the respect and the seat at the table they need to explain why they need certain equipment and what its lifespan is so the city can plan financially for them.
And every day, sort of in your day job, although I guess in your case it would be a day and night
That's
job,
correct.
you work to make communities safer because you're a firefighter.
That is correct. I currently work for a fire department outside of Columbus. I've been in the fire service for almost 10 years now and absolutely love it. It's the greatest job in the world. And by working in a fire department in a different community, it has allowed me to see how things are done slightly differently than they are here in Norwood. And I think that's not a bad thing. I think there's some great ideas that I can bring to the table to help us work collaboratively together to bring the city up to where it needs to be in providing safety services for our citizens.
And I believe that you really have taken a leadership role in your department in terms of finding more resources for it. And I'd be interested in knowing some more about that and whether you think that those skills are going to be translatable sort of in other areas of your service here in Norwood.
Yeah, so over the past few years, I've actually been tasked with being the lead person in charge of our grant writing committee for my fire department. And in those 2 years, we have, luckily, we've applied for over $1 million in grant funding, and we've been awarded about over $300,000, and that's for different supplies and equipment we use on a daily basis. I think knowing that and knowing how impactful that can be on a community, especially like one like Norwood, will allow me to push the city and has made me understand that it's very important to us as a city in Norwood. We need to have that. We need to be applying for every grant possible and looking at all sorts of alternative revenue streams to help our city out and get us back up on our financial foot.
And we know this is a problem that a number of communities throughout the state are facing, is this lack of resources, because people do have big visions for making great places to live. And so am I correct to think that that would be also a really great way to help build a clean Norwood? And maybe can you talk a little bit more about your vision for that?
Yeah, absolutely. When you think about clean, I think a lot of people think, oh, well, we should have a street cleaner, or we need to have people sweeping up trash out of the streets. I think that's a small facet of that. I think to have a clean community, to me, means we have, great, beautiful parks. We have paved streets. We have a plan to keep our streets maintained and updated, and knowing when they need to be repaired and how much those repairs are going to cost. But I think we need to expand our Adopted Parks program. We have a lot of community stakeholders in this community that are very involved in the community. If we can engage them in some corporate responsibility or just some more community engagement by adopting a park or creating a community service day, I think we can make a lot of inroads when it comes to our parks. We're slowly making our parks a little bit better, but I think we're on the right track, but we need to move a little more faster. We need to move a little more quickly to get ahead of the game, so that we aren't outpaced by other neighboring communities.
Well, and I like this idea of engagement that you're talking about. And I know you're talking about it on the community side and on the corporate side. But I also recognize that one thing that's important to you is being responsive and accessible to people. So can you talk a little bit more about sort of the level of transparency that you would bring to your service as a council member at large here in the city of Norwood?
Well, I think the biggest thing with transparency when it comes between citizens and their government is communication. I think there's a lot that happens in government that not all citizens want to be involved with or even know that's happening. I think the saying is you never want to see how laws are making or how sausage is made. But there's a lot of communication that we can have. And if we make those channels open, we create a way to have people submit questions to council members. If we're responsive as council members, we can move the community a lot farther. I would like to develop a brand new website and figure out a way to engage maybe some Xavier students or UC students that are studying computer technology. Maybe even here in Norwood High School, there's some kids that are computer inclined that would be able to help us develop a website that is attractive and easily navigable, that we can send messages out through. We can send email blasts, maybe adding a newsletter that's mailed to people who might not have internet access or computers, but making sure that the community actually feels part of the government. Since they do vote us and we are representing them and you, we need to be able to answer to you. And not everyone can watch the council meetings. Not everyone is, able to follow what everything is said and why things are done that way. So having town hall meetings, having office hours at different places around Norwood, I think would be a great way that as council members we can stay in communication with our residents.
Well, and it also sounds like the idea of engagement would be really helpful in building a thriving Norwood and making sure that folks know all of the great opportunities that are here and really about how they can build a brighter, better future, whether it's a family or a business. So could you tell the folks at home about what your perception is of a thriving Norwood and the engagement that it will take to really build a city that is thriving?
I think Norwood is at a tipping point, if you will. I think we are right here. We have a lot of community involvement right now. We have many community groups. They're doing a lot of great work. And I think we need to figure out a way to coordinate that so people aren't working at parallel lines. So we're not everyone's trying to do the same thing and doing it differently. I think we need to make things more collaborative. But I think we can also engage a lot of different organizations that are available to city governments through the state of Ohio, through Hamilton County, through OKI, and READY and HCDC, which is actually headquartered right here in Norwood. I think if we engage all of these external stakeholders as well as our community stakeholders, we can develop a community development plan that will attract small businesses to come help us transform Montgomery Road into something similar to like a Pleasant Ridge or an Oakley. But it's going to take cooperation, and we have to all work together. We can't work against each other, and we need to all be in line. So I think we need to open those communication channels between all of those organizations and groups and make sure we're all have the same ideas and we're not just stepping on each other's feet trying to do the same thing at different times.
Yeah, I mean, this idea of engaging people, working together, being responsive to folks and their issues, creating a clean, safe, thriving Norwood. I mean, that sounds like a great vision for the city. But I know you've been out knocking on doors
Yes.
and talking to folks.
I have.
So when you're telling them about this, what do they say? What are the issues they say are important to them? How do they respond to the things that you're talking about?
Well, I know that I have been out. Many of you may have met me on your doorstep. I've been out knocking on doors since June. I've successfully worn through one full pair of shoes. But I've been able to have great conversations with a lot of people from all 4 wards, all corners of Norwood. And the biggest thing, obviously, is our roads. We need to fix our roads. And I think we need to be able to use this gas tax revenue that we're going to get from the state of Ohio in the next 2 years and continuing on. We need to find a way to efficiently spend that to update our roads and make sure we're not wasting the money. The other biggest thing is relationships and making sure that we have the services that people expect. A lot of people I've spoken with love the fact that we have a fire department and a police department that's able to come to their house in under 4 minutes. That's great. It's below national average, and they want to support that. They want to make sure that we have that action and that have that availability to us at all times. So I want to make sure that that's solidified, and we make sure we have one of the best, if not the best, fire department and police department in Southwest Ohio. I also think people have also talked to me a lot about economic development and how to increase our income tax revenues. And I think that's just simple through, we have to find a way to actively recruit small businesses to come here to Norwood. I don't know if there's a set, this is a guaranteed way to do it, but we need to maybe think outside the box a little bit and figure out a way that we can attract some small businesses, restaurants, bars, small shops to open up, especially in the Montgomery Road corridor, and make it more of a walkable community.
Well, and I think with your background, having an educational background in emergency management, being a firefighter, I think having worked in state government and worked in the nonprofit sector, I think that uniquely qualifies you to accomplish all those goals that you're setting out in terms of building a clean, safe, thriving Norwood. And I'm really impressed by the things that you have planned for your time on council. But not everybody's had a chance to meet you and get to know you yet, or a chance to talk to you on their porch. So is there anything else you'd like to tell the folks at home about your plans for when you're elected to council at large?
I would just like to ask everyone for their vote and support on November 5th and give me the opportunity to make Norwood a safe, clean, and thriving Norwood.